Dear students, let us start the discussion on today's newspaper. That is 3rd May 2017. The first article, Winning Back the Valley. This is in the background of growing unrest in Kashmir. The nature of unrest in Kashmir has changed. India cannot be in denial mode about this. India has conveniently blamed Pakistan for everything that has happened in Kashmir. Before 2010, to an extent, it is true too. Even today, it is true to an extent. But however, fundamentally, the nature of unrest has changed. By and large, it is fueled by local residents. There is a growing acceptance to militancy across the common people in Kashmir. So it is due to high-handedness of the state and state's inability to solve the basic governance issues in Kashmir. It is PDP-BJP alliance, an alliance of contrast. It failed to provide a sense of security, sense of comfort, and employment to the Kashmiris. Then what is the way forward? Today the movement is becoming rudderless, leaderless. Then obviously the power of social media and Pakistan proxies are being added up to this. So a kind of a rainbow coalition is created through all these factors. This is going to make the movement or the unrest worst of its kind. So what India has to focus upon? So what the Indian government has said to the Supreme Court is, without peace, there cannot be talks. It means it has seen peace and talks in a sequential manner. So they have to go simultaneously. That's what is the previous day article was talking about. In this article also, Mr. Narayanan emphasizes on talks between the Kashmiri separatists and the government of India. All stakeholders shall be involved in Kashmiri talks. And second is the governance need to be improved in Kashmir. There has to be a greater emphasis on development, that is generation of employment to the Kashmiri youth. And above all, the government of India has to establish its credibility by emphasizing on Article 370. I have repeatedly said to you that Kashmiris believe Article 370 is the umbilical cord to connect their valley with the government of India. So this Article 370 also provides for autonomy which the Kashmiris value a lot. So 1960 onwards, I will say 1956 onwards itself, the government of India has made many attempts to dilute Article 370, and 1970 there are many laws which are being passed to dilute Article 370. So that's why authors suggest that the government has to reverse even certain amendments which have been made previously to gain the trust of the Kashmiris. So these are the three solutions he talks about. Refugees from the sinking islands. The global warming is affecting all the nations. The worst affected are the island nations. These are vulnerable island nations. So in this context, these countries are facing an existential threat. The migrants from these countries, how they have to be handled, and then the financing of adaptation, how it has to be handled is a big question. So the world countries have to take the responsibility for the adaptation, and a financial mechanism has to be created under UN Framework Convention for Climate Change. And the second thing article emphasizes on, the world or global forum has to be created to address the issues of the migration which is emanating from these countries. So as these countries are not responsible for their state of affairs today, the global community has to take the responsibility towards them. That is what is the emphasis of this article is. Turkish detour. So we have got intimate connections with the Ottoman Empire during Mughal period. The Sufism is a connect between these two countries. In spite of this, India-Turkey relations are not very strong. The major reason being that Turkey is the close friend of Pakistan. And Jinnah has visualized the Pakistan on lines of Turkey itself. But however, the things have drastically changed on Pakistan then after. But today, India-Turkey wants to revive their relations, especially in defense, space, trade, etc. In spite of this, the trade between these two countries are decreasing. In the light of this, let us see India-Turkey relations. Mr. Erdogan's visit did not start on a sound footing in India. There are no diplomatic niceties that are being shared before the start of the visit, where India has invited Cyprus President Mr. Nikos, and Indian Vice President also has visited Armenia, and the Turkey has no diplomatic relations with these two countries. There is a territorial dispute with Cyprus. And then, counter to this, Mr. Erdogan has issued a statement that there has to be multilateral talks on Kashmir issue. So, which is a stand of Pakistan, which is against to India's position that any issue has to be solved through bilateral talks. And second, on India's NSG entry, Mr. Erdogan stated that India and Pakistan both shall enter into NSG. It is hyphenating India with Pakistan. And third, on terrorism, he spoke selectively about Naxalism rather than talking about the cross-border terrorism emanating from Pakistan. So in that way, both the countries did not start the visit on a sound footing. But however, India shall stop seeing the India-Turkey relations from the Pakistan lens, and the Turkey also need to do the same to reinvigorate the relations with the India. Fortification of food, that is called powering up food. If we take women in India, what is the biggest health challenge to them? I can say it as anemia. And the reason for the death of pregnant mothers and also the malnutrition in the newborn children, all this can be attributed to anemia. The most common anemia is iron deficiency anemia, followed by B12 and folic acid deficiency anemias. And blindness, vitamin A deficiency related blindness, and also iodine deficiency, thyroid disorders. These are very much common in India. So these micronutrient deficiency disorders, how they have to be addressed. The most important solution is food fortification, where a micronutrient is added to a macronutrient and they are being mixed together. And as citizens consumes a large macronutrient, they also consume the micronutrient. Fortified salt with iodine has addressed the problem of goiter in Himalayan belt. So, the fortification is a solution for various healthcare problems because it is speedy, it is low cost solution. And added to that, what India has to do is certain standards need to be evolved for food fortification, and we shall not see food fortification as a supplement to the balanced diet intake. So we have to promote the balanced diet, and at the same time, for a speedy redressal of the issue, we have to depend upon food fortification. And coming to Afghanistan article, Mr. Hamid Karzai's interview. So Mr. Hamid Karzai, he was the former president of the Afghanistan, and he states that India has to increase its involvement in the case of Afghanistan in the best interest of our India-Afghanistan relations rather than to the pressure of United States of America. 2 days back, we have seen Suhasini Haidar's article. When India visits, or Prime Minister Modi visits United States, Mr. Trump is going to put the first question to him, what India is going to do for United States in Afghanistan. Then an answer lies over here in Hamid Karzai's interview too. He clearly stated that any Indian involvement in Afghanistan to be for the best interests of India and Afghanistan rather than to the interests of any other third country. So that's what Karzai has really spoken about. And coming to targeted treatment, it is about HIV and AIDS. You know that HIV as a virus, it attacks on CD4 cells. CD4 immune cells are bound to decrease due to attack of this virus. Previously, it was stated that when CD4 cells are less than 200, then only a therapy has to be started. This therapy against the HIV is called antiretroviral therapy. Now later, it was increased to 500. Even at the stage of 500, we shall start the antiretroviral therapy. Now WHO has clearly stated that irrespective of the CD4 cell count and a disease criteria, treatment criteria, as early as possible, ART has to be initiated, antiretroviral therapy has to be initiated. It is because it has been proven now that early treatment will decrease the incidence or else the risk of transmission of the disease and also increases the longevity of the individual. So in India, the major risk is identifying the people who are living with HIV. So people with HIV, identifying them is the biggest challenge for India. So early treatment of ART can decrease the risk of transmission. That's what is being stated. Now let's go to the front page. Now, beheading is inhuman army. So this is more of an event. Infosys plans to hire 10,000 Americans. You know that H1B caps are being raised. The minimum salary shall be around $130,000. So that's the reason why the Infosys wants to hire American in the United States of America. In case beheading inhuman, so as usual, the Pakistan states that there has to be actionable proof or actionable evidence to take action against its own forces. And India says that it will give a befitting reply to Pakistan. No invasion of body for UID. So last week we have seen the argument of the Supreme Court that Aadhaar is going to be a bodily invasion of privacy. So Aadhaar takes iris scan, and taking this iris scan is an invasion of body privacy. That is what Supreme Court argument was. Counter to that, center states that there is no invasion of body and government regulations are necessary to maintain orderly society. That is what is the argument center is making. And second, so the security of the data is very much important. Most of the government offices, not knowing the importance of data, they are keeping the personal information which is available with the government online for transparency. So that's why data security policy is going to be brought in by the government, and also rules of Information Technology Act are being revived for the same. So these are the things which are important. Let's go to the revision of the notes. Rising unrest in Kashmir. How to address this? Provide for better governance, assurance on the autonomy, and then rise the employment of the youth over there. So these things will provide for better solution along with the talks. And then refugee from sinking island. As vulnerable islands are increasing due to climate change, we shall be able to provide an international framework for their adaptation and also migration of the refugees from these vulnerable islands. That is what is the essence of this article. And then let's go to Erdogan's visit to India. It did not start on a sound footing because of Cyprus and Armenia issues from Indian side, and Mr. Erdogan raising the multilateral talk on Kashmir. And then if we come and see the fortification of the food, it will solve many of the problems related to iron deficiency anemia, goiter, which is iodine deficiency disorder, vitamin A deficiency, etc. These are the things which we have discussed in today's newspaper. Thank you very much. All the best. In my neighbor's house, some sound is coming up. I can't help with it. Thank you very much. All the best.